My name is Ida Olsonen, and I am here to help you improve on the music that you make with your choir or vocal group. Today we're talking about blend and phrasing. Within vocal music, blending indicates matching sound colors between the different singers. If a group blends well, their sound is considered well proportioned and balanced. In each episode this far, we've had a song as our example, and this is no exception. The song this week is my arrangement of Sylvian joululaulu that I wrote a couple of years ago for vocal group Kumo. We will be listening to their recording from their Christmas album. This is one of the most beloved and well-known Finnish Christmas songs. The lyrics were written by Zacharias Topelius at Christmas Eve in 1853, and shortly afterwards his good friend Karl Kolan wrote the music. The two-bar interlude that you can see in this publication from 1855 is what we Finns are very used to hear, also as an intro played by either a piano, strings, or even some woodwinds. I've linked a couple of classic interpretations in the description box below in case you're interested in listening to them. When dealing with arrangements and rearrangements, I always think it's valuable to have a sense of where the song comes from. So back to the topic of blend. Let's listen to the first bars of the song.
Ja niin joulu joutui ja taas Pohjolaan.
The girls are actually the highest and the lowest tone. And the tenor is placed in between. Doing the D flat C. Intuitively, I would put the girls higher and the tenor lower, but this spread actually, according to Kumo, works the best for them and creates the nicest sound for them. What this means in terms of the voice instrument is that the girls are in their lower mid register. Well, the soprano is in the lower mid and the alto in the lower register, whereas the tenor is actually close to his bridge in his higher register, and still they make it sound very uniform and put together. Another good place to listen to is the accompanying voices in the second interlude. They make it sound very effortless, but actually the highest female part and the lowest female part are very far away range-wise. The lowest one would be like I don't get that anymore. So basically, the alto is operating in her low range, low mid range, whereas the highest soprano totally different vocal function in her mid-high range, and still they make it sound good together. When working on blend, I try to create as tangible focus points as possible. Let's start with focusing on volume. This exercise could be applied to both a vocal group or a choir of any size. Decide which group you want to work with. Is it the sopranos or the first tenors or the entire vocal group? Within this group, assign one person of their singing duties and instead have them work on finding the right balance in volume. Select a passage of a few bars that you can repeat over and over again without a separate in count. Now, the assigned person will listen very carefully, go around all the singers in the group, and play with their volumes up and down. Here, a useful sign is the volume button. This is a bit like you'd be mixing a record, so go and check out what you can find in the different tracks. Mute some, have some really loud, really explore what you got. When you find the right balance, record it and share it with the group, listen to it together. If you've got time, change leadership and passage so that all the singers get the experience of really working with balance and which kind of adjustments are needed to create a nice, great sounding whole. Another great focus point is vowel colors. Here, I'd again work with a closed loop, something that turns into a no-brainer after you've sung it a few times. One singer will get the task of changing the vowel color, and everyone else will copy it to their best ability. And so on. Our voices are individual in sound and color, and we can learn so much by copying each other in a playful manner. Doing this exercise will open your ears to the shades and possibilities that you have with your voices combined. Good blend doesn't necessarily have to mean that we all sing exactly the same way with the same technique and equalize everything. Many times it's also not possible. The parts may be written so that we are in really different parts of our voices, like in the example from before. In the middle of all of this blending and flexibility, we need to be mindful of what we ask of ourselves vocally. The decisions we make should always be sustainable, and no one should need to feel uncomfortable with their singing. Use your ears and look for the balance that both feels and sounds good for your group. We began discussing some phrasing details in the second video about rhythm and groove, where we talked about where the tone ends and how it's ended. Now we'll go even further on those details. Let's begin with discussing instrumental-like syllables for a minute. If you were the soprano, tenor or bass in this passage, how would you pronounce your part? Now let's listen to how Kumo has solved the situation.
Sen vertaista toista en mistään mä saa. On armain ja kallein mul ain sun.
I hear some aspiration of the D and a vowel that's pretty narrow and indistinguishable, with a very loose jaw and the tongue in the front of the mouth. Then, a bit depending on the singer too. I really like the effect they're creating. It resembles a nylon-stringed guitar. Now, even if we wouldn't go for this instrumental approach, it serves a purpose to know whether you're singing something with an instrumental-like function or whether what you sing carries a lingual content of its own. For the arranger, writing down accompanying syllables always contains a compromise of sorts and leaves a lot of responsibility with the singer. A good example of this is the version of the arrangement that I've created for the groups that don't have a beatboxer in their midst. I've written out parts with some syllables for you to experiment with. Now, this could be done very literally. Or with a more musical spin. Let's remember to distinguish the occasions when we are required to be savvy instrumentalists from the ones where we actually have words containing lingual information. As our last topic, I'd like to touch shortly upon phrasing as the soloist versus phrasing in an ensemble. This is one of the biggest differences between a vocal group where everyone sings their own parts to a choir where you're requested to sing together with a group of singers. A lot of the style and flavor in the music within the genres we're dealing with comes from detail work and variation. When we are a large group of singers trying to syncing on that within the same part, that takes some consideration. Let's listen to the ad-lib phrase that opens the entire song. Well, it's not totally ad-lib. I wrote something very similar in the sheet as a suggestion, and singer Kirsi made it her own. If how she's phrasing it would be written out, it would look something like this. As much as I love how she phrases it, I would not put this in the publication. Firstly, this would freak people out. This looks scary and difficult. Secondly, I think it highly unlikely that we would end up with a product that would sound good. Catching the fine nuances of what she does in a graphic form is difficult. Instead, I'd hope that anyone working with the arrangement would check the original out, consider its options, or perhaps putting their own spin on it. Is someone in the group seeing it in an original way that's actually much more genuine to your expression? Make your own artistic choices. On a micro level, this is happening all the time within these genres. Are you taking a little scoop to the first tone or are you picking it straight? Between two notes, do you do a tiny glissando? What about the last tone in the phrase? How is it let go? When we dive into detail work like this, it is key to know the context of the music style you're operating within and maintaining open ears. Record what you're doing. Take turns in copying and leading, and get curious about what the musical lines you most love consist of. Along this video series, I've been releasing music that's written specifically for choirs and vocal groups. This is the fourth and final week of me publishing one tutorial and one song with sheet music each week. A huge thank you to vocal group Kumo for the collaboration on the Song of the Week. Go over to their YouTube or Spotify channel to listen to the entire track. For details on the arrangement, how to get your own copy for free, as well as everything else, check out the description box below. Thank you for watching this video and the entire series for that matter. It's been such a big learning experience for me to take on this new medium. I really hope that I've been able to share things that you can actually use and adapt into your musical life. I'd love to hear from you if there were things that were specifically useful or if you have wishes for possible future content. Take care, let's stay in touch. Bye.
Na